The wind in Antarctica doesn't howl. It judges you. It rattles the steel walls of the research station like it's testing structural integrity out of boredom. It slams loose panels. It drags ice across reinforced glass in long, screeching strokes. It reminds you constantly that you are a fragile mammal squatting on a continent that would prefer you extinct. I respect that. Dr. Kelaire does not. She stands in the observation bay with her arms folded, bioluminescent markings faintly shimmering under the overhead lights, watching the whiteout like it's an unimpressive light drizzle. It is statistically survivable, she says for the 15th time this week. It's -40. I reply, adjusting the seal on my third thermal layer. With crosswinds. She tilts her head in that slow, deliberate way her species does when they're preparing to mock someone. You are wearing more insulation than a cargo freighter. It's called thermal layering efficiency. It is called paranoia. I glance at her. Tall. Composed. Infuriatingly elegant for someone whose homeworld averages tropical humidity and gravity high enough to make my knees ache just thinking about it. Her species evolved in warmth. Dense atmosphere. Constant heat. Even now, in a temperature-controlled station, her skin gives off the faintest cool sheen, like marble left in shade. And yet she insists she's perfectly adapted. Your internal temperature baseline is lower than mine, I remind her. By 1.8 degrees, she says calmly. Hardly catastrophic. You started glowing during breakfast yesterday. That was irritation. Because the coffee machine was cold. It was inefficient. I grin despite myself. Captain Parker remains correct. Her eyes narrow. If you refer to yourself in the third person again, I will recalibrate your lab drone to mislabel samples. The rivalry started 3 weeks into the joint human-alien climate adaptation study. She specializes in exobiological resilience. I specialize in environmental survival systems. She believes biological adaptability surpasses mechanical redundancy. I believe Antarctica eats optimists. The station trembles as a gust slams into it. Ice pellets scatter across the reinforced window in a violent burst. Kelaire barely flinches. You over-engineer because you fear discomfort, she says. I over-engineer because generators fail. They do not fail. The lights flicker. We both freeze. There's a pause, a long, heavy one, where the hum of the main power core stutters like a dying heartbeat. Then everything goes dark. For half a second, the only sound is wind and the low mechanical whine of something spinning down. Emergency lights flash on in dim red pulses. I don't say anything. She doesn't say anything. Somewhere deep in the station, metal clanks ominously. That, I say carefully, is what we call failing. She lifts her chin. Backup systems will engage. As if summoned by confidence alone, the emergency generator kicks in with a coughing roar. Then it coughs again. Then it dies. The temperature readout panel on the wall blinks and begins dropping in slow, merciless increments. -18 degrees Celsius inside. And falling. Her bioluminescent markings flicker faintly along her collarbone. I will retrieve the manual restart kit, she says briskly. You will not, I counter, already moving. You're not stepping into that storm without thermal protection. I am not fragile. You're not built for this. She hesitates, just slightly, when another violent gust slams the structure. Snow blasts across the small external camera feed, turning it into white static. The temperature drops another degree. I move to the emergency locker and pull out my top-tier thermal survival suit. Multi-layered. Biometric regulated. Designed to sync with my baseline heat signature for optimal output distribution. She watches me. I possess my own field gear, she says. Your field gear is rated for temperate planets and polite weather. Her jaw tightens. The station groans again. Take it, I say, stepping closer and holding the suit out. For a moment she just stares at it, and at me. Pride wrestling practicality. Another flicker runs along her skin, brighter this time. This is temporary, she says finally. Strictly survival. Of course. She steps closer and takes it. Her fingers brush mine, cool. Noticeably cool. She pretends not to notice. The suit unfolds automatically, sealing around her frame with a soft hydraulic whisper. Adaptive fibers contour to her shape, locking at wrists, neck, and ankles. The internal display along the forearm lights up, initializing biometric sync. She blinks down at it. It is attempting calibration, she says. That's normal. Primary thermal source recognized. Her eyes flick up to mine. The display scrolls another line. Link established. There's a soft hum as the suit adjusts temperature output. I feel it, a faint tug, like static snapping between us. The suit was designed to optimize around my metabolic rhythm. Now it's wrapped around her. She inhales slowly. The red emergency lighting paints her features in sharp contrast. The glow along her skin steadies, becoming less erratic. Temperature stabilization achieved, she murmurs. Good. She shifts experimentally. The suit tightens microscopically, then relaxes. Her gaze lingers on me a second longer than necessary. It is adequate, she says. Another tremor shakes the station. I grab my secondary gear. We have 10 minutes before internal temps hit critical. We reset that generator manually. She nods. As we move toward the airlock, the suit emits a soft tone. Thermal variance detected. She frowns at the display. What variance? The suit hum deepens slightly. Distance from primary source increasing. Her head turns slowly toward me. I'm 3 steps ahead. We lock eyes. The suit tightens just a fraction around her shoulders. Wind howls outside like it knows something we don't. And for the first time since we arrived on this frozen continent, Dr. Kailare looks uncertain. The first thing I notice when we step into the corridor is that she is walking closer than necessary. The second thing I notice is that the suit is humming. Not loudly. Not alarmingly. Just a low, content vibration, like it's pleased with itself. I am capable of independent locomotion, she says coolly, even though her shoulder is nearly brushing my arm. I didn't say you weren't. You accelerated. I walk fast. The suit emits a soft tone. Thermal variance increasing. She stops. The corridor lights flicker red across her face. The bioluminescent tracery along her skin glows faintly, steadier than before. Why? She asks carefully. Is your equipment complaining? It's not complaining. Distance from primary thermal source exceeds optimal range. I blink. She looks down at her forearm display. Then at me. Then back at the display. It appears, she says slowly, that the suit has developed attachment issues. I cough to hide a laugh. It's calibrated to my metabolic baseline. It's probably just. The suit tightens subtly around her torso. She freezes. I freeze. Recalibrating. I finish weakly. She takes one deliberate step toward me. The tightening stops. The hum smooths out into that low, satisfied vibration again. Optimal range restored. We stare at each other. This is a design flaw, she says. It's a feature. Her eyes narrow. It is restraining me. It's encouraging efficiency. She steps sideways, experimentally increasing the space between us. The suit responds instantly, a faint constriction across her shoulders and waist. Her glow flickers brighter. She steps back into my personal space. The suit loosens. Hum stabilizes. Silence. The storm slams against the outer structure, reminding us we have bigger problems. She straightens. We will address this after the generator. Of course. We reach the maintenance junction. The temperature has dropped enough that my breath fogs in the air. Hers doesn't. Her species processes moisture differently. But the faint tremor in her fingers as she pulls up the generator diagnostics isn't lost on me. You are shivering, I say. I am not. You are. It is a muscular recalibration response. To being cold? To hostile architecture. I crouch beside the manual override panel and start disengaging the frozen latch. You mocked my layering. I continue to mock it. The suit hums again. Thermal output increased. Positive stimulus detected. She goes still. I pause mid-motion. Positive stimulus? She looks down at the display. Then very slowly looks at me. What? She says in a dangerously calm voice. Did you just do? I opened a latch. Prior to that. I think back. I said you were shivering. You expressed concern. That's not illegal. The suit's internal temperature indicator spikes 2 degrees. She inhales sharply. Her glow brightens across her cheekbones. That is coincidence, she says. Sure. I tighten a valve. You handled the generator diagnostics fast. The suit hum deepens. Temperature rising, affirmative emotional input. Her shoulders tense. The suit tightens slightly, not restrictively, but enough to be unmistakable. She glares at me. You are manipulating the system. I'm fixing a generator. You are issuing verbal variables. I complimented you. That was unnecessary. It was accurate. The temperature climbs another half degree. Her bioluminescent patterns ripple, betraying something very close to flustered. For an alien exobiologist who prides herself on composure, she suddenly looks like someone whose internal thermostat has betrayed her. I can't help it. I grin. Captain Parka, she mutters. Oh, so we're back to that. You are enjoying this. A little. She shifts her weight. The suit responds instantly, loosening near her arms as she leans closer to look at the panel I'm working on. Proximity optimized. Her breath, faintly cool and faintly sweet, something mineral and unfamiliar, brushes my neck. My brain registers that before my engineering instincts do. She notices. Her glow flares brighter. Temperature spike detected. Stop reacting, she hisses at the suit. It hums contentedly. I clear my throat and refocus on the generator override. You said Antarctica was statistically survivable. It is. You're currently bonded to my body heat like a space heater with feelings. I am not bonded. The suit tightens gently at the word. Bond integrity stable. We both stare at the display again. Bond integrity? She repeats. That's new. She straightens abruptly and steps away. The suit constricts. Not painfully, but enough to make her inhale sharply and step right back toward me. The constriction vanishes. Optimal range restored. We stand there in stunned silence. The storm roars outside. Snow slams against reinforced steel. And inside this frozen corridor, my emergency suit has decided that distance from me is unacceptable. This is inefficient, she says quietly. Yeah. Her gaze flickers to mine. There's something different there now. Not just irritation. Curiosity. She steps half a pace away again, carefully watching the readout. The suit tightens. She steps closer. It loosens. She tilts her head. You are the constant variable, she says. Seems like it. Her eyes narrow in thought. Your species generates higher baseline thermal output under emotional stimulus. Define emotional. She looks at me pointedly. The suit hums. Temperature rising. Her glow brightens. She swallows. That, she says stiffly, is irrelevant. I finish securing the override and the generator kicks weakly back to life. The lights shift from red emergency glow to dim white. The temperature drop slows. We should feel relief. Instead, we're both very aware that the suit hasn't stopped humming. She checks the display again. Thermal synchronization stable. Primary source proximity ideal. She doesn't move away this time. Monitoring equipment integrity, she says, voice carefully neutral. You're monitoring me. I am monitoring the interface between human thermal production and adaptive alien insulation. That's a long way to say you're staying close. She lifts her chin. When you walked ahead earlier, the suit constricted. So don't let me walk ahead. A beat. She steps even closer. There's no storm in the corridor now. No flickering lights. Just the low mechanical thrum of the recovering generator and the soft, steady hum of the suit sinking to my heat. Her shoulder brushes mine. Either of us comments. This arrangement, she says quietly, is temporary. Strictly survival. Yes. The suit emits a small, pleased tone. Positive proximity sustained. She exhales slowly. And for the first time since we met, Dr. Cagliari does not step away. The emergency shelter is smaller than I imagined. The reinforced walls barely give enough room for 2 humans and 1 alien in full survival gear, let alone a giant pile of emergency rations, repair tools, and that ridiculous fold-out lab console she insisted we bring. The generator groans in the corner, barely producing enough heat to keep our breaths from freezing midair, but it's the only thing standing between survival and frostbite. She steps inside first, carrying her tablet like a shield. The thermal suit hums faintly, almost like it's approving the move. I follow, trying not to let my shoulders brush hers, but in a space this small, even casual movements have consequences. Her glow, soft under the emergency lights, seems to intensify the closer I get. I don't comment. She doesn't either. For now. The shelter door seals, and the wind outside becomes a violent, white roar. Snow pelts the thick metal exterior, rattling it like a percussion instrument in a frozen symphony. I unclip my helmet and toss it on the makeshift bench, letting my hair dry slightly in the limited warmth. She does the same, and for a moment we're just 2 people in extreme conditions, sharing a tiny space that feels impossibly intimate. The temperature gauge ticks lower. She moves slightly closer to the generator hum, then shifts instinctively toward me. The suit responds, tightening microscopically and releasing gentle warmth. I notice. I try to ignore it. She notices that I notice. A silent dance begins, steps toward, steps away, tiny adjustments, subtle heat pulses, and neither of us speaks about the rhythm we're already locked into. This shelter is barely sufficient, she says, her voice calm but with a trace of tension. Yes, I agree, crouching near the generator to check the coolant lines. Yes, it is. And it's only going to get colder before the backup can stabilize fully. She adjusts her gloves, watching me. Your thermal output, it is higher than predicted. I glance at her. Predictably human. She straightens, her glowing markings pulsing lightly. Statistically superior. I freeze for a moment. Those words hang in the room longer than they should. My instinct is to tease her, to pretend she's talking about lab results, but her expression is earnest. Calculated. Serious. And underneath, something like vulnerability flickers. I need my suit back, I say cautiously, testing the waters. She doesn't respond immediately. Instead, she steps closer. The suit hums, temperature rising fractionally around her torso. Her eyes flick to the display again, then back at me. There's no denying it, the suit reacts directly to my presence. And she knows it. No, she says finally, quiet but firm. Not yet. I try a half smile. It's for survival, not preference. Survival includes optimal warmth. And currently, that requires close proximity to you. I blink. Her shoulder brushes mine lightly as she shifts to check the emergency thermal readouts. My pulse picks up without me intending it. She's so impossibly calm in tone, but the way the suit subtly reacts to our movements betrays her composure. Her bioluminescent glow pulses faintly, like some quiet heartbeat I can't touch, yet it's impossible to ignore. Proximity required for. I start, but she interrupts. Experimental accuracy, she says. Human warmth distribution. Thermal efficiency under duress. Absolute necessity. The corner of my mouth twitches. Right. Absolute necessity. Her gaze lingers on me. I can feel her presence steady, deliberate, a weight pressing into the small space around us. The suit warms subtly wherever she's closest to me, a constant, almost imperceptible reminder of the link it has established. I take a slow step back. The suit tightens slightly along her torso, and she instinctively shifts closer again. Our silent negotiation continues. You understand, she says, finally breaking the tense silence, that I am not requesting this proximity for frivolous reasons. I understand, I reply evenly, though the heat rising in my chest tells me otherwise. A gust rattles the shelter, snow scraping the thick metal walls. We flinch slightly at the sound, but our positions haven't changed. She tilts her head toward me, expression neutral, yet the suit hums differently, warmer, almost like it's approving the alignment of our bodies in this confined space. I swallow, aware of the subtle pressure of her presence. Your thermal output is calming, she says quietly, almost too softly to hear, yet carrying enough weight to make my stomach twist in an unfamiliar, complicated way. It regulates my nervous response. I shift slightly, not sure how to respond. Her words hang between us, scientific in phrasing but unmistakably intimate in implication. The suit hums in response to both our movements, syncing like some bizarre mediator of human-alien interaction. I exhale slowly. And you feel safer near me? Yes, she admits, almost reluctantly. For survival purposes. I want to tease her, to point out the obvious subtext, but her expression is carefully controlled. Her markings pulse gently, signaling discomfort, embarrassment, and something warmer, almost pleasure-like, all at once. The suit responds accordingly, regulating her temperature, constricting and loosening subtly with every micro-movement. The storm outside rages, the shelter rocking slightly under the pressure. Penguins shuffle past the observation window, black and white witnesses to this quiet, ridiculous, dangerous dance. I can't help but imagine them judging us with the same calm indifference Kailare has shown since day one. I take another step closer. The suit reacts instantly. She shifts slightly to compensate. Our shoulders brush again, this time not just by accident. There's a tension in the air, scientific, emotional, absurd. Neither of us moves away. The thermal link between us is steady, undeniable, and entirely our own. You must stay close, she says softly, more directive than request, more confession than command. For survival, and experimental integrity. I tilt my head, suppressing a grin. For survival. Her glow brightens. The suit hums in satisfaction. We don't speak again immediately. The wind outside is a distant roar, the emergency generator wheezing its tenuous life into the room, but inside this cramped, metallic cube, the only heat that matters is human, alien, connected, and rising. We remain like that for a long moment, a silent accord forming between proximity, warmth, and unspoken understanding. And somewhere in the back of my mind, the tiny chorus of penguins outside shuffles again, as if nodding in approval of the most unexpected partnership Antarctica has ever seen. The storm outside finally begins to abate, though the wind still shrieks against the shelter's metal walls. When we step back into the main station, the air feels almost absurdly warm after the frozen cage we endured, but inside, something has shifted. She's still wearing my thermal suit, pristine, humming softly, fitted perfectly around her alien frame, and yet she hasn't moved away from me an inch. The subtle glow along her skin pulses faintly, almost like a heartbeat synchronized with the suit, a quiet declaration that our earlier proximity wasn't just about survival. I tug off my gloves, flex my fingers, trying to reclaim some semblance of control, but it's hopeless. She mirrors every motion I make, adjusting her sleeve to match, brushing lightly against my arm in a way that makes me painfully aware of the difference between instinct and intention. Around us, the station's other scientists notice immediately. They don't comment, just observe. Their expressions are somewhere between amused and scandalized. Wordless speculation spreads like wildfire, because it's impossible to ignore the fact that the emergency survival suit has now become the center of a very peculiar attraction. Give it back, I say quietly, though I already know the answer. She tilts her head, voice calm, measured, unyielding. Not yet. I frown. The generator's stable. Temperatures are normal. The emergency is over. Her eyes flicker to the readout on her forearm display. Emergency concluded for the environment, Not for the thermal subject. I blink. She's deliberately using technical language to avoid saying what she means, yet the implication is as clear as the fluorescent lights above us. The suit is a medium, a bridge between alien physiology and human warmth, and she refuses to return it because she doesn't want to. She wants me. She wants the source. Around us, a few curious glances turn into discreet whispers. I hear one of the other researchers mumble, "That's oddly intimate." I ignore them, focusing instead on her, the way her posture is relaxed yet alert, the way her suit adjusts minutely to my proximity, the faint glow in her skin that isn't entirely from the adaptive fibers. She's blending alien biology with human instinct in a way that's completely new to me, and the effect is both hilarious and disarming. She steps closer. The subtle hum of the suit rises. "Your thermal output is preferable," she says softly. "Measured stability increases when you remain within proximity." "Measured stability?" I echo, smirking. "So now you're keeping me around for science?" "Of course," she replies immediately, though the faint quiver in her bioluminescence betrays the lie. She's not arguing, but she's also not moving away. Every step I take toward her, the suit loosens slightly, warming her in a way that feels almost mischievous. Every step away, it contracts, coaxing her back. She's adapted to rely on me, and for once, the science is hilarious because it's painfully true. I let out a breath and approach her fully. "Then we'll conduct a few more experiments," I say, matching her calm tone. "Direct contact, controlled variables, optimal proximity." My words trail, because the absurdity of it is overwhelming. She tilts her head, expression deadpan, but the soft flicker of her skin betrays a smile. "Experimental conditions must remain rigorous," she counters. "Temperature and emotional equilibrium must be monitored." I step closer, brushing a hand lightly across the edge of her suit. The fabric hums, and the warmth radiates outward, not harshly but subtly, like it's asserting ownership over this tiny, chaotic connection we've created. "I think the station is going to have to approve some new safety protocols," I say, "including me staying uncomfortably close." Her shoulders pulse lightly. "That is statistically acceptable." We pause. The entire station seems to shrink around us, irrelevant in the presence of a simple, undeniable fact: she prefers to be near me. The suit's hum is now almost conversational, affirming every subtle movement and every micro-adjustment. Penguins shuffle past the observation window outside, black and white witnesses, their heads tilting as if judging this very human-alien romance unfolding in a station designed to resist life itself. I can't help but imagine them snickering silently. Finally, she exhales, the tension in her posture releasing just a fraction. "I admit," she says quietly, almost shyly for an alien exobiologist who never admits anything, "this is no longer purely for survival." I raise an eyebrow, amused, letting the moment hang. "So now it's preference, not necessity?" "Yes," she admits. "Direct source contact is preferable." The absurdity of the statement is not lost on me. She has survived entire alien ecosystems, engineered laboratories, and sub-zero winds that could cut through steel, and yet here she is, declaring preference for human warmth. The suit hums in gentle approval, bioluminescence flaring slightly, and I realize that the tiny, ridiculous experiments we performed in the frozen corridors have resulted in something unexpectedly intimate. I take another step closer, just enough for our shoulders to brush again, deliberately. The suit responds, warming her evenly, and for the first time, we're not negotiating survival. We're negotiating comfort, presence, closeness, a new variable neither of us fully understands but both are willing to explore. A soft chuckle escapes me. "I prepared for the coldest continent on Earth," I mutter. "I did not prepare to become the heating system." She glances at me, eyes flickering with amusement beneath the glow. "Perhaps that is the superior adaptation," she says lightly. "To have a human nearby." And for once, I let the storm outside fade completely from my mind, because in this cramped station, amidst emergency protocols, humming suits, and skeptical penguins, the warmth we've discovered together is the only climate that truly matters.